Hey there, Short Kings. Welcome back to the channel. This finance video, I'm going to talk to you about what's been the bane of my existence for the last week or two with regards to my Subaru Crosstrek. One of the big things that happened was the transmission in the vehicle failed. Now, this is an incredibly stressful situation, and I just wanted to talk about the process I went through and how I've resolved to fix this issue. So first off, committing to spend the money was a tough decision, and I was hesitant at first because of how significant the expense was. Transmissions are not cheap, and depending where you go, the cost can change quite significantly. I wasn't exactly sure it was the right move, and it took a lot of thinking and working through this process to figure it out. Finding the right part was one of the hardest things for me to do because I wasn't exactly sure what I was looking for, and I was incredibly fearful of just finding the wrong part, spending all that money, having it come in, and then having to send it back, and then all that extra time waiting on the right part to come in. So what I ended up doing was looking up how to determine the part number, and if you take your vehicle's VIN number, put it into a VIN decoder website or the website that it comes from. For example, this is a Subaru Crosstrek, so I went to the Subaru website, put in my VIN number, and it gave me a parts list of what was in that particular vehicle, to which point I found the part code for the transmission, and I was able to search online a lot easier to find the proper part. One of the things I considered in this whole process was buying a new vehicle, because frankly, it would have been way easier. I could have parted this out, probably made a good bit of money on that stuff and turned it into a new vehicle. But realistically, that's turning a $5,000 problem into a $30,000 problem in the future, right? Initially, it'd be easy. I just have to walk into a store, sign the paperwork, and away I drive with a vehicle that's under warranty. But again, in time, I'm gonna have to deal with the commitment of having to spend off that $30,000 in debt, and that's not something I wanna do, and it's not something I would encourage you to do either. So my biggest goal for this was preventing myself from going further into debt. So, biggest thing I did was get the vehicle towed back to the house, and just took a deep breath and gave it a day to kind of filter and sort out in my head, and the next day is when I got into looking at the VIN number, getting a hold of Subaru, getting on the website, checking the code. And once I got that information, I actually went ahead and called a local Subaru place so that way I could confirm with them, like, hey, this is what I found, is this right? And they very easily pointed me in the right direction. And granted, when I was on the phone with them, they quoted me between $8,000 and $12,000 for a new transmission. With that being the case, I went to eBay, I called pick and pulls, and I just hunted around trying to find a decent deal on a used part, especially with a company that has a warranty. When you purchase used parts, make sure they have some sort of 90-day warranty on that part. I ended up going with a dealership that, not a dealership, but a pick and pull place that sells through eBay, and I've got a part cost $2,400. The big takeaway here is an emergency happened, and instead of panicking and going out and just purchasing a new vehicle, I decided to just relax, take a breath. I ensured that I had a ride to work. I ensured that anything else that I needed was taken care of. And with that being the case, I moved in such a way that I didn't go into further debt. I made calculated decisions on what kind of money to spend, when to spend it, how to spend it, and I set up a budget. I contacted shops, I asked what their shop rates were, I developed a budget for this. My budget for the whole thing is going to be about $5,000, which I'm more than happy to spend in order to get the vehicle back up and running. These unexpected financial troubles do happen, but with the right preparation, mindset, and taking a deep breath, you can navigate these without going into more debt than you need to. If you're not set up with an emergency fund, you might need to get a small loan. I highly recommend getting out of debt, getting a small emergency fund, and growing it to a larger emergency fund so that when these things happen, you can actually sit down, relax, and not be too stressed because you do have the opportunity to pay for it. But yeah, that's my process and how I dealt with getting the vehicle, some of the roadblocks I ran into, and some of the stress that I had while going through it. If you found any value in this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.